Welcome to the Anonymous Andrew podcast. Life and the choices we make. The choices other people make. Why we choose to ignore the red flags. Red flags like gaslighting, cheating, addiction, mental illness, and much more. What role do they play in relationships? Follow me each week as we discuss these topics with anonymous guests and experts to hopefully become better humans, resulting in better choices. Like I say, been there, still doing that. Now on to the show. Anonymous Andrew here with you, and today we have a very, 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 very special episode. Why? Because today we're doing a contest, okay? I've been promoting this, and if you're listening, you know all about it. But here is the deal. So today's guest is Angela Marshall, and she wrote a book about, she's an ex-wife of an NFL player, and she wrote a book about being married to him. We are giving away 2 copies of this book. So to enter this contest, which is completely free, you don't have to pay anything or join anything. You do have to follow me, though. Okay, so whatever platform you're listening on, you need to subscribe to my show or follow, and that does not cost you anything. Just click on follow or subscribe, and at the end of the interview I will give you a code word or words. I'm not going to obviously tell you now, but at the end of the interview I will jump in and give you the code phrase. Let's call it a code phrase. So you email me a screenshot that you're following me the show on your platform. So take your phone out, follow me and take a screenshot, email that to me, and in the subject line you're going to put the code phrase, and of course in the body of the text of the email you can maybe tell me why you want to win the book. All right? And I hope you enjoyed this interview. Angela was vibrant. She's exciting. She's happy. I was so upbeat listening to her, and at the end of the interview I felt great. She just has a great message, and she talks about dating yourself, and I'll let her explain what that means. Just a very interesting concept. So listen to this episode and enter the contest. Hey, you might win a free book. All right, enjoy the show. Hello, everybody. Anonymous Andrew back with you with another exciting episode, and I am really excited. Today we have Angela Marshall, and Angela is going to talk to us about the dating woes, the dating no-nos, and the dating foes of dating. And just as a caveat, she has an autobiography, The Story and Life of an Ex-NFL Wife. So you were married to an NFL player. Hello, Angela, and welcome.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me and just for the opportunity for us to connect and converse. I'm so excited about this conversation because as you know, usually there are a lot of stereotypes. There are a lot of preconceived notions as it relates to me being the former NFL wife and what that life was like, and what I guess my mindset going into dating him, marrying him, and then now we're divorced and dating other people. And so this is going to be a phenomenal conversation.
I hope so, and I am looking forward to it. So why don't we start with wherever you'd like to start? You want to start with that relationship and go forward, or I'll leave it up to you.
Absolutely. Again, thank you for having me. I will start by saying everything that we are taught, quite a bit of the things that we are taught and that's ingrained in our mind as it relates to finding a mate, scratch it 100% until you find yourself. If you have not found yourself, if you don't know how to love yourself, you don't know how to like yourself, trust yourself, respect yourself, then you cannot effectively do that for other people. I met and married my ex-husband very, very young. I was very impressionable, as was he. We met in high school. And let me throw this disclaimer out there. I'm not saying there isn't a such thing as high school sweethearts and you go on and you have this tremendous relationship. 100%. If it worked for you and it's still working for you, hey, kudos. Did
Yes.
not work for me. And I do believe that as it relates to relationships and dating and marriage, there is no one-stop shop. You know, what works in your household or for your relationship, it may 100% not work for mine. So I met him very young. And at the time that I met him, I think it's pretty safe to say that a lot of what I was looking for in a mate was framed by the environment, society, and then the relationships, meaning my girlfriends, home, people that I hung out with, friends, family members. All of that was framed by them. So I had not really taken time to understand what my likes, dislikes, whatever needed to be in order for me to have a fulfilling relationship. Had not really even taken out time for myself. I met him very young. A year and a half later, while I was still in high school, I had our first child, first son. So there's me splitting, me getting to know myself or understanding life. Now I'm having to understand life with this person, meaning my ex-husband. Now I have a son that's impressionable, trying to figure out life for him. So it still never afforded me the opportunity to understand Angela fully. What are my likes? What are my dislikes? What are my goals? What are my dreams? What am I here for? Why am I here? What do I hope to accomplish?
Wow.
And to me, all of that is so crucial as it relates to relationships and dating. Like the cliche is, if I knew then. So a
What I
lot of
know now,
things,
yeah.
absolutely. It's just the flow is just so much better. But for people who really think that you can have this list, this one-stop shop list, like I don't want a person that does this, this, or this, or I don't want to, if they live here, drive this or whatever. I don't think that is going to equal to a fulfilling or a successful relationship until you understand those things about you. Because what it does is when we have lists and non-negotiables, I'm trying to control you. I'm trying to control the person, or I'm trying to control a situation externally that I can't. Now, with that being said, obviously, if you and I are attracted and I'm in a relationship with you, I see growth, deficiencies in you or in myself. And so we should be working towards that, right? To try to be better and try to do better, 100%. But ultimately, the only person and the only thing I will ever be able to control is myself. And if I have not done the work and really dug into everything as it relates to Angela, how am I spiritually, financially, emotionally, romantically, medically, holistically, biblically, economically, politically? You'd be surprised. Like, there are a lot of breakups over politics, over romance.
Let me jump in there. Absolutely, you're correct. I am on and off dating apps for the last couple of months. And the biggest thing that I'm seeing today is the woman, and probably men too, the woman will make a laundry list of non-negotiables. If you voted for Trump, swipe left. If you don't believe in global warming, swipe left. Swipe left. If you don't, one of them said, if you don't have a valid passport, swipe left. I was like, I couldn't believe what I was seeing.
Oh my God.
And so clearly these women know what they want, but to your point, I think there's a compromise, and there used to be an expression, opposites attract. Who you voted for and who I voted for, I don't think should matter in a relationship, but apparently it's becoming, Trump changed everything, but anyway, I just wanted to tell you that that's what's happening in the dating world today, that they're making laundry lists of non-negotiable deal breakers.
Well, I will say this. I think that as a person, when you really get to know yourself, there are certain things that you should not settle for. Because when you get into the realm of settling, that can cause friction and anxiety too. That's that whole not being equally yoked. Now, again, you recognize strengths and weaknesses, and if that person that you're dating or that you're hoping to be in a relationship with, if you see room for improvement or that they are attempting to grow, 100%. All things aren't necessarily created equal as it relates to that. I think there should be balance though, because there are certain things for me today, but I'm doing the work. I'm not gonna say I've done work. I'm doing the work to really get to understand and know Angela. So there are certain things that no matter what, I will never, ever settle for, ever. Because it just made me miserable. And then in turn, I was making that person who I was dating even more miserable.
Yep.
So I think, while I think that, let's just stick with the political side of it. If you are that hard-nosed as it relates to, I want to date only people who believe like I believe in politics, my political party, my core values or whatever, honestly, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Now, could you potentially be pushing away a really great guy or a really, exceptional woman? Possibly. But knowing what you want and you don't want, especially when you're doing the work on yourself, that's key. So I think that if there are differences and it accumulates to the fact that our differences are so great that I'm going to be annoying you, this is going to be a dysfunctional relationship. You don't believe like I believe, whether it's religion or spirituality or whatever the case is, that can cause a lot of problems on down the road. And I will say, backtracking as it relates to my ex-husband, one thing that led to our demise, which there were many, but one thing that led to our demise is just the unequalness or the the imbalance as it related to, he was so formulated, so calculated, so methodical, so strong and confident and sure in who he was and what he wanted in life. And here, this little 16, 15-year-old sniffing at him like, hey, choose me, pick me, like me. I want you to help create me and mold me. No, like, it was such a burden for him. And I can see that so clearly now as it relates to just other relationships, that I interact with, and that we try to bring people into our fold, but sometimes it doesn't work
fit.
that way.
Doesn't fit.
I will say this as it relates to dating foes, FOES, in my opinion and my perspective, we have to be very, very careful, because those dating foes don't just come from haters or people outside of our relationship. A lot of times, guys, it's family and friends. One of the biggest things that I learned was never to go to a person that is not successful in a relationship, quote unquote, or so to speak, because when you go and you try to talk to them about deficient areas or whatever with your spouse or your mate, and they're not doing well in in helping that along in their own relationship, they're only going to give you bad relationship advice. They're going to give you suggestions that 9 times out of 10 they're not going to even follow. And that can be such a compelling issue. And it was in my relationship with my ex-husband. I'm listening to friends, I'm listening to previous patterns and behaviors, or what I saw growing up, and thinking, no, this is right, this is how you're supposed to do this, or this, and I'm supposed to do this as the woman, you're supposed to do this as a man. Now, don't get me wrong, I love tradition, and I think there are certain things that traditionally should be so, 100%. However, I am very flexible as it relates to, okay, well, maybe he can only, my boyfriend can only bring 20% to the table this time, or 30% to the table. And I need to have the compassion, the construction, and the compromise to say, I got us covered, and vice versa. And to me, that's what a really, really solid and good relationship, that's what it should be comprised of.
Yeah, two people in a relationship. I've always believed that you where I might be weak, you might be strong, and it's the visual is that broken heart, and the two pieces fit together. So you you complement each other in certain areas. Like you said, 20-30% you bring to the table, but I'll bring the rest of it. Or I like that, and that's the way it should be. And there should be compromise also, and but then you grow together. So this so you had children young. You were so what was it like being married to an NFL player for he I don't suppose you want to tell us who it was. Is that
Oh, I don't have a look. I am an open book. I know what I signed up for in 2016 when I wrote my autobiography. So I was married to Arthur Marshall. He is a former Denver Broncos and New York Giants player.
okay? Yeah,
We have
no,
we have two incredible children. We have grandchildren that are even more incredible. And at the time when I was married to him, as I mentioned before, when you are unsure of who you are and you lack confidence and the courage, and you're still trying to just kind of figure your way out or figure your way in this life, it's very, very challenging. And it's even more challenging when you have now the world looking at you from the outside in,
yep.
like it's supposed to be this perfect relationship, or like, my appearance is supposed to be perfect all the time. His appearance, his demeanor, his this, his that. And we're just really two people trying to navigate and grow together and have this family, have this lifestyle, have our dreams and goals just come true, from time to time as we work hard. It's very, very difficult. So you can imagine, like, whatever the woes or the discord and the disappointments that you had in your relationship, times that by about 1,000
And
when you have somebody in the limelight,
and I was just going to say, with social media today and culture, with everybody putting so much value into celebrities, and sports athletes are celebrities. You're followed by the paparazzi. You are on the cover of every newspaper. If you're seen at a nightclub and you're fighting, it's on the front page tomorrow morning. I can't even fathom what that's like. So yeah, that must have been pretty, especially when you don't know anything. You now I hear when a celebrity asks for the public for privacy because they have a personal family issue, they don't want to be part of the spotlight anymore. They want their privacy. And
well, and I think there should be a line drawn anyway, because a lot of that stuff, it's like, if it relates to that person professionally, 100%. But if it's a personal matter, we shouldn't be involved in it anyway. That's just how I feel. I will say that I am so thankful and so happy that social media, with my ex and I, because he played from 1992 to 1998.
Yeah,
I'm so happy that social media was
not around.
Oh, no, because I think, I don't know. Me as a person, like all of the growth that I'm experiencing now, and just the trajectory that I'm on to try to become a better person, I just don't know, under all that pressure and extra scrutiny from that you can get sometimes from social media. I don't know where I would be right now. So I'm thankful for that.
Yeah, you escape that trap of the social media, because today people with their cell phones, if you're out at a nightclub or even at just a restaurant, and they see somebody famous, out comes the camera, right, and posting on Instagram, and you were very lucky to.
Well, you have to think about it. Even people that are non quote unquote, whatever the status for non-famous, I mean, people are just cell phone. They're recording everything. They're recording people in Walmart. They're recording people going irate in the fast food lines. I mean, it's just such an obsession with just, I want to either humiliate someone else, I want to make a joke about someone else, or whatever the case is. And I think that's because it's difficult for them to face themselves. And that's why, like you and I, before you pressed record, I was like, one of the main keys that I will say that really, really helped me and turn this dating around for me was to date myself, to know myself, to like myself, to respect myself, to trust myself, to adore myself. Because when we get into the whole mindset of someone else sending me a text or calling me beautiful or baby or queen or whatever these things are, and that makes me feel good, and that's the only time it makes me feel good, that's a problem, because I am really being dependent on someone else to make me happy, validate me, give me value, increase my worth. And that's just not going to sustain a fulfilling relationship. Like, you have to really, really be secure within yourself and understand that anything outside of yourself for your mate or your spouse, any support, any uplifting, positive, encouraging, romantic, whatever words or thoughts or gifts or tokens that they're lavishing you with, that's just a bonus. It means nothing to my psyche, as if, okay, well, this person really loves me, or this person really, whatever. It's just like, no, if I'm a good person and I'm trying to grow and I'm trying to be better and do better, I'm thankful. I'm thankful for that extra text that he may send in the morning that says, good morning, gorgeous, or whatever. But it does nothing to my brain to make me feel like, okay, I really need this, because coming from him, that really makes me a gorgeous person. No, not at all.
So in my last relationship, and this is my issue, I think I needed validation. So in the very beginning, she was beautiful, but she would often tell me how handsome I was and how attractive. Now, the odd thing is that she was from another country. She emigrated here 25 years ago. She was Latina, and I'm a gringo. If you know the whole, and she had never dated a gringo. But at the end of the relationship, when I knew it was coming to an end, she actually said to me, I no longer find you attractive. And that hurt. And I took that, when the relationship ended, I took those words just kept bouncing around in my head. And then it convinced me that I will never find any, because I'm not attractive. Because she said that, whether she meant it or to hurt me, or whether she truly was not attracted to me, I took that. So tell us how you said something that I've heard, dating yourself. What does that look like? How does one start dating themselves? Because I'm struggling with this.
Well, the same expectations and standards and whatever else that you're looking for in a mate, you have to check that off for yourself. So you start there. So if you're looking for someone who is goal-oriented, that is full of life, that is positive, that is uplifting, can be a good supporter or encourager. Are you those things for yourself? That's how it all starts. Because if you're not that for yourself, when you meet that person who you think are those things, and they probably will be, or they probably are, but if something happens to the relationship and they detach from you, or they break it off, or you break it off, then, like you said, those words, her saying, I no longer find you attractive. When you date yourself, you know yourself, you are confident and you're sure in yourself, it will still hurt, because, of course, that's a person who you're trying to build a life with, or you thought, it was going to be a forever after.
Yeah.
But I promise you, it will get to your head, but it won't travel to your heart. So you'll be able to move on faster, because every day when you look in the mirror,
I was just going to say,
regardless of what she has said to you, you look and you're like, oh, I am attractive. I am handsome. You will have told yourself that so many times, and you have the highest regard and respect and love and adoration for yourself, until no matter what somebody says, you will be able to process it accordingly and then move on. And that's the key. Like, so many of us, even for myself, I had been told so many times when I decided to file for divorce in 1999, you're never going to find anyone like your ex. Oh,
Yeah.
or live the lifestyle like with your ex. I mean, I heard that so many times. Like, what are you doing? Like, wow, like that has got to be, such an incredible life, and whatever else that people attribute to a lifestyle as it relates to celebrity or professional athletes. My response was, it's not about him, it's about me. And when I turned the list, the mic, the mirror, the stage, the levels from him to me, then I started being and becoming this person of true value and true worth that did not need external validation.
Thank you.
You have to understand, Andrew, that society from little, we are programmed. We're programmed to, you got to wear this, have this, look this way. I mean, everything, the majority of the messages that are coming in are, we need to be like somebody else, or we need to have this, and then we're that. And that's totally not true. And that's why so many of us latch on, or we link on to the wrong person, because we have not fully absorbed ourselves. And that's the key.
Talking about that, the social media, and it wasn't in 1999, but shortly after 2000, whatever, there was MySpace, and then Facebook came on the scene, and then Instagram and TikTok, and then as you know, so all of that social influencing today, these kids must be. I can't imagine what it's like to be a teenager today. Although I do have three my sons are my own, but they're not teenagers. It must be a horrible to look on TikTok and see one thing, and then look on Instagram and see another, and look on Facebook and see another. There's all this bombardment of what you should look like, what you should dress like, what you should act like, who you should date, what your status should be in life. There used to be the saying, by like 25, you should be married with the house and the fence and the 2 dogs and the 1.5 bathrooms. That's how I grew up, and it's all this pressure. I had this is my issue. I had this awful thing in the morning when I would brush my teeth. I'd have to look in the mirror, and there were many mornings I did not like what I saw, but it wasn't necessarily physically. I knew what was behind what I was seeing.
That's what it always is. It's internal. Yeah. It's that mind, that inner mind.
So tell us how you make that transformation from, so you get divorced, and I guess there was a healing process and a recovery process. How long after the marriage did you started dating? Is that when you started dating yourself?
No, I wish I could say that's what I did, but honestly, that didn't happen until about 8 years after I was divorced. Okay. So that's a long time. That's a long time to go through ebb and flow and other guys and other situations, and still trying to figure out life for our children, and so just in general. I mean, it was just a wreck. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was just a wreck for like 8 years.
Did you date during those 8 years?
Yes. Yeah. Yes, I did. And I will say, this one guy that I dated him for about 4 years. Incredible guy. So he is that one, I guess how you say, the one that got away, or the one that kind of comes into your life and you're not ready. So I 100%, I was not ready, but he was an incredible guy. After him, and it was a long distance relationship, he actually was a globetrotter, and physically a basketball player, globetrotter.
Oh,
and after our failed relationship, I just started like trying to figure out, okay, here's the common denominator, me. Yeah. So there has to be something. Like, I can't now. I mean, I have eyes to see and ears to hear and a heart and all of that. So I understand that person who I once was in a relationship, and they have this vice, that vice, this deficiency they didn't say. But again, the only person and the only outcome and the only thing that I can ever control is me.
Yes.
They're gone. They're gone. So there is no, like I shouldn't be dwelling. And that's what, when we leave this conversation, one of the things that I want your viewers and your listeners to really grasp is moving forward means leaving behind the thoughts that you can change the other person, because you can't change that situation. You can't change the other person. I don't care if they did 1,003 bad things. I don't care if they are narcissists. It doesn't matter. What are you? What are you going to do going forward? And I think that was most helpful for me after my marriage. And then, of course, getting into, because I was actually into 2 relationships, but that one where, we were doing the long distance for 4 years. And then after it ended, I mean, I still had reckless behavior. I'm not going to sit here before you and try to say, oh, well, I got it together after that. No, because I'm still trying to get it together. However, after that relationship, I said, you know what? It's me. Like, I'm the common denominator, and I really need to figure out all of what I can to the best of my ability for Angela. Now, have I interacted with guys since then, before the relationship now? Yeah, 100%. There have been ups and downs, and there have been trials and everything, struggles and everything else. But overall, I have grown so much and fully removed them, and taken all of the bad things, all of the hurtful things that I think, that they did to me. And then some things they actually did do. But I'm not concerned with that. And I can't be, because going forward, taking that baggage and that misery and that, discord into another relationship, you're just going to doom that relationship. Yep. So that's why it's so crucial. Like, we really have to understand the capability and the reasoning behind fully disconnected. And some people, they don't understand, like, the energy and stuff that lies dormant in thinking, okay, she wasn't this, he wasn't that, and then you're trying to potentially draw another mate or interact with another mate. It's just going to be a big old mess. You have to let go.
Yeah, and I feel like I'm still connected to her in some fashion, whether it's through energy, through the universe, or through subconscious something. But at some point, I'm growing weary and tired of that, because there are days that I get up and I try to go to work and I try to have a normal life, but I'm triggered by something that I see, or something where like, it's the summertime and we used to go to the beach all the time. I live right by the beach, and now I'm triggered because the whole summer I have to go to the beach without her. I just had this conversation with somebody else. How do we disconnect? How do we sever that connection?
The best way to initially sever the connection is to date yourself. Do the work on yourself.
Okay.
I can't stress that enough. Like, you can't go and blow the beach up. You can't go to that restaurant and blow it up that you're going to walk past, or you're going to drive past, or whatever. The only thing that you have control of is your mind. And that's how you see yourself. So apparently you still see yourself as whatever it is that she said when she mentioned to you, you're not attractive and whatever else. I'm pretty sure that's the loop that you're replaying in your brain, different things. Yeah. And I get it, because as a person who has, I've received hurt and I've given hurt. And that's the main thing too now. Like, when I was writing out, and still do, different issues and problems that I have with people, I write 1 line, 2 lines for them, and I make it a point to write 5 for myself. Because, again, the only thing that I can control is me. It doesn't matter what he did, what he didn't do, what he said, especially if it's in the past. It's gone. They're gone. So number one, like, you have to really, really love and like forgive. You have to adore yourself. You have to trust yourself. See, right now, from what I'm hearing, and then just me in the past, I didn't trust myself. I didn't trust. Check this out. Oh my God, this just came to me. I didn't trust myself to love myself like somebody externally of me.
Yeah.
How crazy is that?
It's crazy.
But now understanding that all of the things that I want in a mate, I expect in a mate, the standards for a mate, I have to 100% give it to myself. Because if I don't, like, again, there's that codependent, or there's that being dependent on something outside of myself to make me feel whole, make me feel complete.
Validation.
So you have to do the work on yourself. You have to get, you have to really, really get raw and get serious with yourself. One of the things that I found, another thing that I found very effective when I started dating myself and I started really working on myself, anything, and this is going to sound really, really harsh, but it's effective. Anything, anyone that I no longer was in contact with, or, for whatever reason, they ended it, I ended it, or we were like, okay, this is it. I don't have a picture, a text message, a contact number, an email. You know how stupid Google will come up and say, your Google memories from such and
from
such.
last year. Yep.
Listen, I went through my phone, then I signed into my Google account, then I signed into my iCloud account, totally erased. So here's what that does. When I pick my phone up and I'm, thinking about that person, my mind can't go looping, because now I'm scrolling on every text and every email and every picture or whatever else. I'm telling you, like, change when you reprogram your mind, because again, there's that society, change hurts and truth hurts. No, it doesn't. It heals. What hurts is the lies or deceptions, like, okay, well, if I continue to brew over this person that left me and I go back and I listen to all these sad songs, like, that's going to make it better. No, that person has moved on. Yeah. They're going on with their life. Whether or not she meant what she said to you about she's no longer you, or you're not attracted, or whatever I said to someone else or they said to me, it no longer matters. If we have said, hey, we're going to agree to disagree, we're going to go our own separate ways or whatever, and it's not amicable. Now, there are some guys, some interactions, it's amicable, but I still removed their stuff,
the memories.
I removed everything, because then, to me, the person that I'm now trying to align with, it's not fair to him for me to hold on, and I got pictures and I got teddy bear. Let me tell you something, Andrew, I've even gone so far, jewelry, different things that people, and I'm talking about like expensive items, I've given it to other people. Just because I no longer want to open my closet, open the drawer, look on my bed, if it's a teddy bear or whatever the case, is gone. There are no traces. And some people would probably look at that and say, well, it sounds like you still have a little bit of this and that. Nope, I don't have no bitterness, no anger, anything. It's just that was then in my life, and in order for me to move to the now and to the present, there's just certain things you have to shed, and you have to be willing to shed it. You got to be really, really hard-nosed with yourself. And the other crazy thing is, how dare we put all of this energy and effort and love and trust into another person, but we don't have it for ourselves? How crazy is that?
Yeah. It's
I mean, think about it. Like, you're putting her on this pedestal. She's so great and this, that, and I was putting this and that, and my ex, possibly putting me on this and that, whatever, and thinking less of himself, or I'm thinking less of myself. You're thinking less of yourself. But in your eyes, like, this other person, when they say, I love you, oh, it means I'm worthy. When they say you're handsome, you're pretty, you're this, oh, that means that I'm worthy. That is so crazy. Think about it.
Yeah. And I know exactly what you're talking about severing. So when I asked you about how do you sever that connection, you mean literally get rid of the pictures. my apartment has basically been decorated by her over the 2.5 years that we were together, because she would come down with things and the drapes and the pictures, and as a bachelor, a lot of men, some men have a problem with that. Don't touch my stuff. I'm like, sure, even the bathroom, but so it's not that easy. Just I would have to literally strip the apartment and go out to Bed Bath and Beyond and buy everything all over again.
Understood. However, here's the thing. When you start with yourself first, like remember I said, you got to date yourself, you got to love yourself. You really have to start conditioning you. And when you do that, those things like the drapes and the curtains and the whatever the case is, to be honest, if it were me, like a bed, I probably would get rid of that. But that's just me. But the other things, because I get it, you're like, okay, well, I'd have to totally redo my apartment. The main goal, what we are, I would think we were trying to achieve is mental freedom, mental peace, inner peace. So as you do the work, you walk by, you see the drapes, or you see this is, her in the bathroom or whatever the case is. But the more you look in the mirror, you affirm yourself, you confirm yourself, you love yourself, you trust yourself, then you can sit at the table where you and her once sat and it not be a problem.
Not be a problem.
Now where it is non-negotiable for me now would be the things that I can't control, like his or her contact information in my phone, or the extra stuff, not things that, that maybe cost a little more, or if y'all bought a car together, you bought a dog together. Well, I'm not saying get rid of the dog just because, you're no longer, all right, get out of here, Fluffy. I'm not saying that, because it's a combination, because you can still get rid of all of that stuff right around you. But if you don't do the inner work, you don't do the mental work to build yourself up so that you understand that your value, your worth, just your existence, your life, your liberty does not depend on another person telling you how great you are, or how good, or how, awesome you are. That's like over half the battle right there. But again, with society, we're not taught that. We're taught when we do things for ourselves, when we try to, better ourselves, like we're being egotistical, or it's vanity. So we're supposed to pour all of this stuff into other people. And that's true. I'm a giver and I want to do that, but I cannot effectively do that until I've done it to myself. Because you cannot, now that's a true saying. You can't pour from an empty cup. You can't love from an empty cup. You can't support from an empty cup, because it builds resentment, bitterness. Then the other person, the relationship is just lopsided. And I mean, it's a no-win situation.
And that's what I have done for the past 10 years, is jumping into relationships after one ends. Not, I might have severed ties, but I didn't sever the energy, and or give myself time to grieve or heal or fall or date myself. So what does a typical timeline look like for you to date yourself? So I'm 7 months post breakup. I should not be dating until I'm comfortable with myself, like looking in the mirror. What kind of timeline are we looking at here? Is this 6 months, 1 year? I mean, obviously it's different for everybody, but
I don't believe in timelines. I just think that Fair enough. Think when you get it, and when you know it, you're gonna get it, and you're gonna know it.
When would you know
it?
When did you know it?
Well, let's see. It took me probably about maybe a year and some months.
Okay.
Before I said, now I'm ready. Because I had a lot of stuff to shed. I had a lot of baggage, but going into that, I didn't say I'm not gonna date anybody for a year. I'm not gonna do this for that, because I was still, like I would go to out to eat. I would go to movies, things like that. Just for companionship, or to have, kind of keep that energy going. Because I mean, we're humans, right? So we relish in in some form of connection.
Okay.
But as it relates to really opening myself to someone and saying, okay, now I'm ready for the next level of intimacy. Nah, I was just like, I really, really have to start paying attention to Angela before I can pay attention to someone else.
I agree. And that's I'm in the midst of that process now, and I hope there'll come a day when, and I hope it's soon, that when I'm brushing my teeth in the morning, not only am I happy with my physical appearance, but really what's inside there. Couple more quick questions, and then we'll wrap this up. Are you dating now?
Yes.
Oh, dating or in a relationship?
In a relationship.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Loving it too. I think one of the things that when you're in a relationship and you feel good about yourself, you feel settled about yourself, you feel sound and stable about yourself.
Okay.
It's like it makes it just makes a world of a difference. Now, that doesn't mean every minute of every day I don't have doubts or I don't question myself. You know, certain things, certain times, if I look in the mirror and be like, golly, you're having an off day, or needing, haircuts or whatever the case is, or just, maybe having a mentally low day. Yeah. Sometimes that happens. But after you do so much work, mental work, inner work, emotional work, physical work, spiritual work, all of that, it's like when you do have down moments or down days or down months, down times, you recognize that does not equal a down life.
No.
It just means I'm having, I'm struggling here, but on the other side of that, I'm going to come through and it's going to be okay.
And that's where I was talking about before. If you're having a down day and you're in a really healthy relationship, your partner should recognize that and try to help you.
Absolutely. So many times though, in the past, like with relationships I've had, in which I think that, again, because I didn't really know how to resolve certain things within myself, there was no way for me to really resolve things with somebody else. Right? So
I see what you're saying. Okay.
Right. So when you are really in tune with how it should flow, how it should go. Okay, this is like, maybe today I just don't need any interaction, and I need you to understand that I'm just gonna, I'm gonna sit on this side of the house, sit on that side, time for myself. Then there are other times when, I may want need some dialogue, some communication. Then there's other times, and I think that when you understand that in your partnership and in your relationship, that is over half the battle. Because a lot of times we get offended, like, oh, you don't want to be around me, or oh, you don't want to talk to me, or you don't want to. And sometimes people just need space. But I think when you're in a relationship, you're in a partnership, and they're doing that successfully, or they understand the need for that, it's going to go a whole lot smoother, because they're going to be ups, they're going to be downs, there's going to be happy and sad, there's going to be tantrums and different things. But when you're with someone who can't, that doesn't understand that, or maybe you're the person that doesn't understand that, to me that just means that you or I haven't done the inner work to understand, this is what my partner needs right now, this is what my mate, my spouse, my wife, my husband needs at this particular time, and I need to be okay to give it to them, and that's and not make it about me.
And that's where communication comes in. If you need a day to yourself, whatever, for whatever reason, and you communicate that to your partner, and they understand that, and they give it to you, that there is no such thing as a perfect relationship, but there is such thing as a mutual or compromisable or healthy relationship. In the sense you were talking about, because I was full of anxiety for 2.5 years, even on the happy days when the things were bright, and I always knew I was waiting for the next shoe to drop, because I knew it was going to happen. So, Angela, where can we find, when did you publish your book, the autobiography?
So the autobiography was published in 2018.
Oh, okay. So
It
it's
is
fairly new.
all over. Yep, it's on Amazon, Barnes and Nobles. They can download it. They can go to my website, which is www.inotherwordsbystone.com. You can purchase an autograph copy, actually,
Oh, great.
from my website. But yeah, social media. I'm on social media, and for all of you incredible Googlers,
Mhm.
if you Google Angela Marshall, Story and Life of an Ex-NFL Wife, or just Angela Marshall, um, you can get to me that way as well.
I'm going to put all of this in the show notes so they don't have to Google it. It'll be right there if
All
they're
right.
listening. So, yeah. Angela, one of the folks can't see this, but she's got an infectious smile. She's just smiling and smiling, and I can tell that you've done the work and you're happy today. And I'm very happy for you. Congratulations! Thank you so much for coming on today. Um, your story is just an amazing story, and I hope to get there myself one day. So, everybody, Angela, um, buy her book and go to her website. And do you do any blogging on your website?
No, no blogging.
Okay, all right.
Usually I'm on different podcasts and all of that. So I haven't got into that yet. What's in the works now is I'm going to be doing a YouTube channel.
Oh, great.
And yeah, in which I'm going to be doing 2 minutes. It'll just be, each video will be 2 minutes, and it'll be tips and tools to live vicariously through yourself, the dating woes, dating folks, dating
Good.
no-nos, converting lives to win. I mean, it'll be it's going to be very informative,
When you launch
very
that,
transparent.
let me know. I'll have you back on. We'll promote it because
Absolutely.
that's
Thank
what I
you.
need. So, all right, Angela Marshall, thank you very much, and maybe we'll have you back someday. And everybody, thank you for listening, and have a great weekend. The code phrase is Arthur Marshall. Arthur Marshall. Her ex-husband, the NFL player, is the key phrase to put in the subject line. All I can say, as usual, is wow. I told you she was vibrant, upbeat, happy. She is just one happy woman, and I hope to be where she is someday, working through all of that dating woes and foes and all of that to finally come to a place where she can be happy in a relationship. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, as you know, there is a contest on this episode. So you just heard the key phrase. Please, if you want to enter the contest, take a screenshot that you followed or subscribed to my podcast. It is free. You do not have to pay for that. Email me that screenshot with the key code, key phrase that I just told you in the subject line. And of course, tell me why you want to win the book, or just say hello. It doesn't really matter what you say. I'm going to randomly pick 2 people to win the book. I'm not sure how I'm going to do that yet, but we'll figure it out. And as always, please, if you like the show, like what you're hearing, please give me a rating. 5 stars would be great. And a little blurb at the bottom. And as I always say, if you're going to choose, please choose wisely. Until next time.